Welcome back, boys and girls. Thank you very much. We're going to go back to part three of this story about me being on a supply boat. Thank you very much for being here. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you know someone you think might be interested in the videos. And of course, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be made aware of our new videos come out in case you'd like to watch them. Notification bell tells you they're there. You ain't got to go digging for them. Excuse me. Pause button. Hey. Sorry, I forget about that pause button. Anyhow, and something else happened. I was in the middle of recording part three. And I had set the timer in my phone. I was filling the pool. And I had set the timer in my phone, and I forgot that I had set it, which is why I set it. So 5 minutes into recording part three, the timer went off to remind me to turn off the pool, which cut the recording. And with no editing capability, I just lost it. I can't use it, so I'm going to start over again. And what I'm really hoping is it doesn't disturb the flow. You know, once you start digging up these memories, you kind of go with the flow. So I remember that where I started video 3 with letting you know that I had successfully jumped on that tank. We were unloading that tank from the rig onto the boat. Oh, by the way, I am your host for today. My name is Don. I'm here with my sidekick, Elmer, the Happy Remote. And together we're going to try to tell you a story. So I got the tank off the boat. I did it without losing my fingers and my feet, which I thought was a pretty good trick. It took me a little while because I hadn't done it before and I was concerned for safety. It was very dangerous. I can't believe they have people. I'm sure they don't do it that way now, but I can't believe that. Man, that was what? It was in like the early 80s. That was like 40 some years ago. You believe that? Wow. Anyway, I got the tank off the boat, still have all the digits, still have my feet. Got sick as a dog that night. Was up all night. That was the night before that, or the night following that tank, was when I was in the wheelhouse and got real sick. There were waves splashing up over the front of the boat, splashed up against the window of the wheelhouse. I couldn't see anything out there. It was really something. You know, the only thing there was for the lights to shine on was the water coming up over the front of the boat. It was really something. But anyway, so I was laying on the back deck, and we had the two. I'm not sure if I put this in part 3 or part 2, so I'm gonna say it again. There was 2 areas where the captain could control the boat, one in the front and one overlooking the deck. Both of them had speakers. I'm laying on the deck in the back of the boat. The captain's up in the wheelhouse. This is the following morning. I'm sick as a dog. I mean, green as green can get. Sick as a dog, and I can hear the captain there's a speaker for each control area. And I could hear the captain talking to some other people, talking about me, being a seasick deckhand. And to be honest with you, I started to get a little nervous and I was ever going to get off that boat. But eventually what the guy said was he was going to take me to a platform and get rid of me, drop me off, get me off his boat, which that was the best news I'd ever heard. And a little while later, we in fact pulled up to a platform and he came to the deck and told me to get off of his boat. Get my stuff and get off his boat, which I did. Thankfully, I was happy. Couldn't hang on. Remembered the pause button that time. Elmer doesn't have the pause button, by the way. Elmer has on and off, but he doesn't have pause. Anyway, so he put me off on the platform. Now, when you get off on a platform, it's a helicopter platform. When you get off on the platform, you can't go sit on the top. You can't sit on the area where on the deck where the helicopter lands. So I sat at the top of the staircase. There was a little landing right there. I sat at the top of the staircase and kept with my head below the level of the deck, which was the rule. And I just sat there hanging onto my duffel bag, thinking I got a helicopter ride and I'm out of here. And a few minutes later, a little while later, whatever it was, at least the rig wasn't moving like the boat did, or the platform wasn't moving like the boat did. A little while later, some guy comes walking up the stairs to the platform, and he comes up there by me, and he says, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Excuse me." And he's carrying a briefcase, and he walks up to the platform, and he stays up there a minute or two, and then he comes back down and sits down on the stairs next to me, and we sat there and started talking, and evidently he was some sort of research guy who had been out on the rig out on the platform, as a production platform, out on the platform for a couple of weeks. He was finishing up his hitch. He had all of his stuff, all of his research with him. Keep in mind, there was no computers. He said, I was research with him. He's going back to the office for whatever company he worked for, and he was going to do his reports and all that kind of good stuff. Excuse me. I forgot the pause button again. Anyway, so we're sitting there talking, and lo and behold, what do we hear? A helicopter coming, which was music to my ears. So I'm sitting there talking to the guy, and the helicopter goes to set down on the platform. And we hear this little noise, and then we see a briefcase come flying off the platform, hit part of the rig on the way down, pop open, papers go flying everywhere, in the water. And the guy sitting next to me says, "Oh, wow, somebody lost their briefcase. I can't imagine, that'd be horrible." And then he realized that when he walked up the stairs to the platform, he had set his briefcase down on the platform. And that briefcase that came flying over the side of the platform and went into the water was his. Keep in mind, no computers. All the work he had done was now floating around out there in the Gulf. I felt sorry for the guy, but I felt so sick I didn't have time to feel too sorry. We got the signal to come up and get in the chopper, and so we got in and they flew us back to Intercoastal City. I'd never been in a helicopter before. That was a pretty interesting ride. It was actually pretty scary. Those things vibrate and shake and buzz and rattle like crazy. I was real happy to get out of that thing. And I went back to Intercoastal. They took us back to Intercoastal City, and I went over and got in my car and cranked it up. I was going to head back towards town. I was done with my offshore life. Was over. It only lasted, I don't know, 5 or 6 days, a week. I'm not really even sure. But that just was not the life for me. And then I went to pull out of the parking lot where my car was and stepped on the brakes. And in the week or so that my car was sitting there, evidently the brake master cylinder went bad and I had no brakes. So it was a standard shift. I cut the ignition. It came to a stop. Now what am I going to do? I got nothing to fix it with. There's nothing. So I drove it back. Actually, I was living in a trailer with Gordy in Butte La Rose at the time. So I drove it back from Intercoastal City to Butte La Rose using the motor as brakes. Just shut the ignition off, let the motor slow it down. Excuse me there. My throat is real dry this morning. And then went on to figure out what I was going to do from there. I ended up going, of course, I went back to work at the motorcycle shop, at the Honda shop. You know, tell Don to get his butt back over here. We need him to come. So I did. Got the parts a couple of days later, which is kind of an interesting story as well. But I got the parts a couple of days later for the car, got it fixed. Anyway, so there's the story of Don's life working offshore. Short-lived. I never even got paid for that. I guess I would have had to have gone back to Intercoastal City to pick up a check, but I never did. Um, it was an eventful little period of time dealing with a bunch of people that I was not comfortable dealing with. And I just let it go and went back to working for the shop. You know, hitchhiking was popular back then. In Butte La Rose, there's no parts house for your store, so I had to go from Butte La Rose. I had to go to Lafayette. So I don't know how many miles it is. 10, 20 miles probably. Excuse me. I hitchhiked. You know, hitchhiking was popular back then, so I just hitchhiked when I got a master cylinder and brake fluid. Hitchhiked back, which turned out to be a interesting story as well. All right, thank you much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Please, if you find the content worthy, please like, subscribe, and comment. I love the comments. I spent another, I don't know, hour and a half or so this morning going through comments, and that's really a lot of fun. You know, I'm talking to a lot of people I wouldn't otherwise have a chance to talk to. So thank you for sending those in. Don't forget to hit the notifications bell so you're made aware of when the new videos come out. In case you like to watch them, you don't have to go digging looking for them. I am your host for the day, Don. This is my sidekick, Elmer the Happy Remote. And we will hopefully see you on the next one. Have a good afternoon. Come on, Elmer.